Bonjour, bonsoir, dear friends, and welcome to JCB Live. This is a fantastic happy hour today because we're going to travel to one of the most magical places in the world. We're going to be in California through Turkey, one of the oldest, most phenomenal, extraordinary place on the planet. And we're going to go to Turkey with my very good friend Murat. Murat is the Suleiman the Magnificent, the essence of what Turkey has given birth to as one of the conqueror of the hospitality business. You're going to hear about his amazing life, his incredible journey all the way from Turkey to a very successful growth in California and running today one of the biggest hospitality center in the United States of America. So, dear friends, I'm very pleased to bring the charming, the sensual, and the eloquent Murat. Listen to that, Murat. Are you there? We
I
want
am
you.
here. I'm here.
Did you feel the cork?
I did.
God, it made a hole in your ceiling. I love it.
I know. I think there is.
Hey, Murat, I want to say cheers.
Cheers.
First, to the amazing man that you are and the 20-year friendship you and I have enjoyed, and the next 50 years of friendship together. Murat, how many bottles of bubbles have we drank together?
Gosh, I don't think I ever can count it. More than probably anyone, but always been pleasure.
Thousands.
Oh, thousands. Yeah, definitely. Always
So,
my favorite is always 21. I do like the 69 as well, but 21 is always a special place.
And we don't want to have any 69 between us today, so we keep it very clean to 21.
Yeah, I have some in the cooler though, if you need it.
Well, maybe later tonight. So, Murat, thank you for joining us for this happy hour. You have an incredible life. Give a perspective of what it is to be born in Turkey, in this amazing nation where, civilization has taken a new birth many centuries ago. And give us a sense of that, and then what drove you to the United States?
Well, I mean, definitely, I was born and raised in Istanbul, Turkey, and born in the 60s. And then in Erwat's, my teenage years, probably around 80s, really had the fascination to come to United States and being so far and so intriguing, where everything was as a dream. And but growing up in Turkey, with the family, eat a lot of great Turkish food, good home cooking, and really, I didn't really have any connection to world of wines, but definitely enjoyed the good food part of it in the early age. Really passionate about Turks are very hospitable and very kind and very much enjoying this. So early age, I started working for the hotels and worked in the first casino ever was actually opened in Turkey for gambling casino. And I worked there. And at that point, I was able to come to United States as a casino dealer, croupier.
Oh, exciting. So you know all about the secrets of the casino. But Murat, explain what it is to be raised in such an amazing country that is Turkey, and what makes Turkey so unique. Because, Turkey's in the news these days all the time. People travel to Turkey. They love the tourism of Turkey, the diversity of this amazing nation. Give us the human side of it as being raised there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the Turkey, what makes it really special than any other Mediterranean countries, very welcoming, very warm. The people are really warm. Really, there is just so many multiple generations of cultures are being all blended together. There's about, when you look at it, there's 7 to 8,000 years of multiple cultures being just, centuries. And there's so much to see, experience, the food has been evolved so many ways. I grew up in the European side of Istanbul. As you know, Istanbul is split in Asian and European side. So I happened to grow up and born in the European side, and there are so many. Basically, you're in 10 minutes between continents, and definitely there's a lot of influence. When you look at it, sort of like there is an influence of sort of a Greek component. There is the Middle Eastern component. Definitely Turks are kind of like the bridge between the East meets West, and that's really amazing when you look at the culture and the food and everyday people. Just a phenomenal place. And again, I think they grow up in a pretty large family with my brother and my sister and extended members, grandparents. We had a great time, and my mother is a great cook and just learned a lot from cooking. Get the passion of cooking Turkish food. And then obviously I jumped into the sort of the world of wine, but definitely just that's where I got the bug. But it's I would definitely think that one of the best places to visit as a if you like, really, that you get to see so many different cultures in one place. Unbelievable.
Yeah. And that's what is amazing. You said it well. East meets West. And explain what you mean by that, not just geographically or politically, but emotionally.
Yeah, ironically, today is the unfortunately the anniversary of our father of the Turks, the Mustafa Kemal Atatürk's was passed away today in 1928 and 1938. So it's definitely is a lot to do with the after the First World War. Atatürk really wanted to get Turkey on the most of the Western, which introduced the Western kind of traditions and Western language, Western even he allowed the woman to vote before anywhere else, and so he was the leader of our country that really get to Turkey from sort of that Islamic Eastern state to a Western secular country that what it is now. And
fascinating place, exactly.
Yeah, and as you know, they're definitely from a wine end of it. There's some really cool varietals that Turkey has been able to grow over the years now through especially in the Aegean side or the Cappadocia. So there is some effort to really bring the wine, world of wine, to participate in the world of wine by winemaking. But it's an interesting process over the years.
That's right. Well, talking about wine, why don't you give us 2 words to describe this wine? And the word I always use, besides teşekkür, is çok tatlısın. You know what that means?
Yeah, çok tatlısın. Yeah, definitely. That I can describe this wine as çok tatlısın, mean very sweet in a way that not in a sweet in that nature, but definitely a wonderful finish. I think that I drank some of the best, probably the Grand Cru wines in the world. I can say that JCB 21 always hits it right there. And as you know, I visited the facilities and I saw how it all happens. It's fascinating. This is a beautiful Burgundy Cremant that is absolutely perfectly balanced. What I like about it is that, not because, word of champagne and sparkling wine is, there's so many different styles, but this is probably as good as it gets from a refreshing, perfect balance, just an incredible, I think, just magic.
I'm gonna start using those words, if you don't mind. I'm gonna borrow them from your vocabulary. So well said. Thank you, Murat. So Murat, you attracted by the West, the United States. You work in hospitality and casino. How did you get to the US and and why?
Well, I mean, a lot of my friends were coming here in the casino. We were all students. I was studying mathematical engineering. And it's fascinating part was that I studied French. And so I didn't speak English. So that was a bit of a problem. But I was able to convince at the time, the company that managed the casinos that I would be okay. So when I arrived here, obviously I didn't speak a word of English, and that was a bit of a challenge every day. But it took me a really very short period of time. But I remember in the earlier years in Turkey, as you may know, in the 80s we went through a revolution, which was a really rough time. And that's when I was about 15, 16 years old, which was the country was in really flames. And at that point, my father had a really good business, but I always wanted to come here. I was really so much in love with all the American movies, especially Die Hard, the first one,
Yeah,
So,
of course.
and I would watch that Bruce Willis. So I think that it really coming to America was almost now probably going to Mars back then,
Yeah.
without the internet and without the knowledge of a lot of things. The only thing about we knew was the really about movies. So that's how it drive. It was like one of those dreams that we never thought it would come true because there was really not much access to US back then. You couldn't just pick up and come here unless you were really wealthy or you had some other connections. But so there was a great opportunity. So I pushed my way in and arrived here and worked in Alaska in the casinos and on a cruise ship. Yeah.
That's amazing. So, casino, cruise ship, and then how did you end up in San Francisco? Was it a charming woman that you fell in love with that got
Yeah,
you
so
settled?
well, I was working the casinos. Casinos contract ended. I ended up working the dining room. I worked as a sommelier. I worked as a waiter, and I worked as a dining room in the different capacities and managing. And then ended up one of the cruises. I met my wife, which we've been. This is our 28 year, I think. Yeah, 92. So we got married. So 29 years and knowing each other. 28 years married. We've been married.
And she
So
still
we
loves
met.
you, apparently, which is amazing.
Yeah, we met at the cruise shipping out of Song of America, out of Miami, and we've been together since then. I think that I traveled in many parts of the country at the time, and I was only 19, just turned 20. So it was a really fun. Get to know a lot of people, get to know a lot of great wines. One of the at the time at least, the cruise ships had a great wine lists at the time. A lot of great wines with wonderful pricing, actually. Sort of, I got to be able to learn, and then we ended up in San Francisco because we both, when we left Miami, we got married in Miami, and again, this is about 92. So we thought that San Francisco is the mecca of hospitality and cosmopolitan in many ways. It's not as big as New York, but it's very charming. At the time, at least, was, this is again 90s. So San Francisco was a very special place to come to.
And that's very adventurous of yours. So then you settled more into a hotel. And is it what you recommend to people? Because today, as we will cover shortly, you at the highest level of the hospitality business, run an enormous company.
Yeah.
But you went through each of the ranks. Is it what you recommend to people?
Yeah, I do recommend people to be honest. I started my career in a very small hotel in San Francisco. I got lucky in a way that I really liked. Well, you got to meet a guy from Burgundy. One, that's always helps your career because they have, So in my early part of my career, I met a wonderful person from Burgundy. And he kind of gave me this sort of whole bug about Burgundy wines and wines in generally, but Burgundy. The way he just animated the wine was just infectious. Like you just kind of like it rubs on you so effectively. He was just such a nice person and just such a lover of wine. So I got to meet and spend time with him. He was my mentor many years. I think that I would recommend folks that, I know it's different times now, but really they understand hospitality industry is a very connected, small, very lively industry, and it does require quite a bit investment in the hand, like in the beginning of the industry, to
Yeah.
time and effort. But if you like, you have to love hanging out and enjoying. As you know, over the years, anytime you invite me, I always show up because I think it's an opportunity to really, for me, the way I see it, every job that I had, because I had, not because of how much I know or how capable I am, but how much I'm able to willing to do and get out and meet people. I think that's it, especially in these hard times that we're going through. It's more important even keep those connections, keep those, reach out to your friends and reach out to people. I think that we're such a unique industry, food and wine industry, no matter if it is a restaurant or a hospitality in a hotel, that or whatever way it is, we love just reaching out and enjoying each other's company. This is probably the hardest one for us, from any industries, from a tech versus us, the hospitality folks, because we love people, we love engaging constantly. So I think that's definitely, I would recommend, even in this hard times, reach out to people, just check in with them, see how they're doing, how their business is doing. It's really, I would highly recommend that from a business part of it.
So human relationship. But as I'm serving the next wine, and we selected this wine because one, we know you love animals, and two, because she represents Betsy Ross, the foundation of the American flag. And
yeah,
like
it's amazing.
me,
Yeah,
we
beautiful.
both love America. So as the two foreigners, at least foreign born, and we have many friends with us tonight from all around the world, and I'm sure there's many from Turkey. So how do we say cheers in Turkish?
Şerefe.
Perfect. Şerefe.
Şerefe. Yeah, no, and you hit it right on the nail. I tell you, it's amazing that you always find the best way to represent the U.S. connection with France and U.S. and just this is an incredible wine.
Thank you. Now, Murat, tell us about what you think on the wine, but then I want to ask you an important question because you are a great mentor to many of your employees, and you have thousands of employees. I'd like you to speak about mentorship and what it meant for you to have had a mentor and now to mentor others.
Yeah, well, definitely. First of all, the wine is unbelievable. I love that sort of the
Thank you.
Beautiful aroma. Again, you have a perfect balance. It's very refreshing. I really like that. I know there's a significant amount of Pinot Gris here, right? And beautiful though. It's sort of north, so it's Mendocino. Is it North Coast or?
Yeah. We cannot hide anything from you. Even if you didn't see the label, I knew you would guess it. So good you are.
Beautiful, really nice. Perfect wine, perfect balance. I love the acidity, and the finish is just classic. But I would say, to be honest, these are the critical times to really everyone to really emphasis on mentorship and really trying to help. I personally got the benefit of meeting some of the amazing people in my industry, my earlier career, to help me really get to where I am and help me through the really, it's a constant, very interactive experience. And I think I would sort of like a little bit, it's kind of a bit of like a fatherhood, right? You kind of, you help people to get better, but you have to also be a bit tough, in a sense that so they understand what does it take to be better. And because there's no easy way to really become better at what you do. And especially in our business, depends on small restaurants, mid-sized restaurants, large restaurants, convention centers, hotels. They all have significant challenges to And we are unfortunately lacking on the leadership and finding new managers in these areas. Our business is unfortunately not advancing as a desirable industry anymore. Used to be much more desirable, I think, for everyone to be participate. I think it's a lot of hard work, a lot of commitment, a lot of hours, but a lot of reward, especially if you like people and helping people. I think there is nothing more rewarding than helping others to elevate and learn. I think there's a lot to be said for anyone in leadership role to really, you can celebrate things in different ways, and there's a lot of rewarding for all of us. But when you actually help people, and over the years, I think that's probably one of the most amazing things, that being able to share your knowledge, your experience, and ability to share all the good things in your world, and really entice people to become better. It's extremely rewarding when you are able to when you see people that, let's say, start, because I've been in the business so long now, so I'm actually getting older in a sense that I know, like, people that used to work for me, let's say 10, 15, 20 years ago, they're doing amazing things. It's such a great reward to see that how you impact their lives, and how you're able to give them maybe the most needed support and help, that you might not even recognize it. You might not even realize that you're doing that.
Exactly. So on that note, Murat, you're a great leader and a fabulous inspiration for many, and you're a wonderful mentor. What are the key attributes to be very successful in the hospitality business?
I would say, everyone probably has a little bit of a different point of view when you look at it. For me, was really my hunger to meet and learn from everyone. That's probably the number one for me was. Obviously, knowing and food knowledge, wine knowledge is very important, but I think it has to come naturally, because that's the part that I think it's really driven by your own passion, and you got to love it. It's not like any other business that you have to, you don't go to school to like a coding, it's like we're not building softwares, or we're not building anything that which it comes from inside. But I think attributes wise, I would say hard work, definitely. And definitely there's a bit of a luck, but what you do is you create your own luck. Being out and about and exploring and experiencing, I think, is probably one of the top three in our business. If you're not able to do beyond and above, it's a tough business to be in. You can't just do your minimum. You got to go beyond and above to able to get out there and really meet people, just learn from people, and really socializing and networking is probably the key to the success. Because if you don't network, you might be just inside of your own smaller bubble.
That's right.
I would say that. But all the other things that every other job requires are hard work, honesty, really building a reputation. One of the things that I'm always proud of it, that I work with a lot of different kind of organization, but I also have a lot of employees, that union employees, and I work with the union leadership. But I have a great reputation over the last 25 years that they know when I say something is true. I think that's what you want your everyone that you work with over the years, because it's a small community, no matter where you are. I think the build that established that people you have a reputation that, honesty and trust, and really those are the core, I think, attributes to success. And then being lucky, being in the right place, right time.
As you were. So on that note, great advice. Thank you so much for those very precious advice, and they're very important. As I pour our daring red blend, because this is Lyeth, one of the father of Bordeaux blend in California, in Alexander Valley, as early as 1979. I have a big question for you. How did you succeed to make it so big, Murat, from hotels to cruise ship to casino? And now, over the last 15 years, you've been running the biggest center of events on the West Coast of the United States, and if not, one of the biggest in the country. So tell us how you got there and what does it mean to run such a big center, including 24 restaurants, bars, etc.
Yeah, I mean, well, cheers first. I want to try the wine.
We never forget our wines. Thank you.
I did cheat though. I did open up earlier to get some
oxygen in the bottle. Thank you for doing that. That makes a lot of sense. And as a matter of fact, you open a wine, what, an hour before? Typically?
Yeah, always. But I tell you, I was impressed with the fact that, there are not many Bordeaux varietals in California. I mean, there's few out there, but, price ranges skyrocket usually. But this wine is perfect. Just absolutely beautiful tannins, very soft, ready to drink. But it's got that Bordeaux feeling to it that it's unbelievable. Yeah, I remember when you bought this winery too, right? It was a while ago.
And we wanted those wines really present the old world.
Yeah.
With JCB 21, Betsy Ross, the lady who saw, physically the first American flag. Yeah. And then obviously a pioneer because he came from Colorado, the son of a banker, like you, a pioneer, moving west, establishing a Bordeaux-style winery and being very successful at it. Similar to you. So each of those wines speaks for a portion of your life.
No, absolutely. I appreciate that. I tell you, this is a great selection. You and I drink some great wines. I'm a big Burgundy guy, and but I love that these wines are beautiful balance. I love all your rosés and JCB. I mean, it's just I actually had a bottle of this one of my favorites too, the Generations.
Raymond Generations.
Yeah.
You have a good taste, young man.
Oh yeah, I love it. But no, I think that this wine is just really perfect balance, and I know that sort of the classic Bordeaux varietals. Really, it's kind of fun to do that because, as you know, there's so many big cabs that we do in California. Sometimes the wines like this is really the sort of the ultimate experience in a sense that because when you finish, the finish on this wine is typical Bordeaux in a way that there's that very strange finish to it. It's beautiful, and I tell you the color and just a perfect balance.
Thank you. I think we're going to drink each a bottle on each side, and we're going to keep having from happy hour to dinner like this.
I tell you,
Murat, let's go back to your present life. Running the biggest operation in hospitality in the United States, hosting Salesforce convention, Apple convention, Oracle convention. I mean, you name it, you're doing it all. Tell us how it works.
Yeah,
how you got there.
To be honest, I mean, exactly. Over the last 15, I've been there 17 years, growing the business, multiples, in a way that because I think that, and I'm one of those people that I'm very optimistic. So I see this sort of what we're going through right now is a bit of a reset, but I do see some. I think that I do see some opportunities to even things get in a positive direction in a way that maybe this was somehow is a sign of reset that we needed. I don't know, in some weird way. But I do think that like doing events, that capacity and large, any given, like let's say Salesforce, we would do about 65,000 people. So we would do, breakfast, lunch, dinner, a lot of wine, as you know, a lot of Deloche.
Thank you.
And sometimes, unfortunately, Gallo, but not always.
We love it too.
But I think that
you want to please all sides of the family, right?
I'm actually, to be honest, I've been doing these big events now, like mega events, we call it, because there's always large events, but these are mega events. Mega events are pretty much about, we generate in 4 days up to $12 to $15 million in food and beverage. Those are mega events.
Amazing.
There's a lot of feeding, a lot of mass feeding.
And what's the key of putting together an event, even though it's the Moscone Center, which is phenomenal, of 65,000 people? It's a whole city.
Yeah. The key is obviously having the right people on your team. It's all logistics. It literally, you become like Federal Express, FedEx, than rather a caterer or a food service company, because it's all about timelines and logistics, because you have to deliver it. And the food safety is probably the most important part of all this, because you're not just feeding 10, 20, 50,000 people, but able to feed them obviously safe manner and quality, and it's challenging. I mean, it's a lot of as you all know, even if you're managing a 40-seat restaurant, you have a lot of fires to put out. Doesn't matter really. Table for four can be a nightmare, right? I've been there, trust me. Especially table for 8 can be a terrible nightmare. But mines are just in bigger quantities and a lot of, but the key is, I think, well planning in advance and able to really recognize your shortcomings in advance. Because if you know your shortcomings, you can take action before. And also the attitude of willing to do whatever it takes is the key, I think, because these things are like massive and there's so many components and so many moving parts. You as a leader, if you're leading the project, you have to touch everything. You have to really know when things you have to know what's coming at you before it comes at you, because that's how only way you can survive.
That's
because
right.
It's not like you're not going to buy a dinner that you mess up for table for 4. You're going to have 60,000 people. We do about 250,000 appetizers a night. And that's just too much to risk. The financial risk is so big. There's no room to mess up, really.
Well, on that note, how did you live the last 7 months of the pandemic, and how do you see the future?
Yeah, it's been really hard for us because obviously, it's been hard for all our industry, as you know. It's been just a difficult times for everyone. What we did is, as a company, we have a great. We are in the 5 continents as a company, so we have a great leadership that I sit on a group that about 8 guys that we just and a gals actually. We just sit around and every week trying to figure out how to plan for the next near future and then further out. But what happened is that when we shut down, I was really concerned about our employees. And we had an opportunity to bid on a project that working with the Human Services Agency in San Francisco to provide about 100,000 meals a month. So I've been doing that since June now, that providing about 100 to 150,000 meals.
Wow.
And it allows, and this is not a money maker, any kind of a business, but what it does is allows a lot of my really well-needed employees to work, a lot of my team members to work, and it's been a great blessing for us.
And we do something good.
So we, just like you, I'm sure, we had to reinvent ourselves. We had to look at things differently, and we had to not give up and reinvent and create and one of the things that I work with these guys. We're not all in the food business. We do large venues, as you know, like Staples Center, Superdome, Soldier Field. We do mega venues, and some of us food guys, some of us are venue guys. But one thing about the food guys, or the guys that in the hospitality and like in our terms, we are the best of creating, inventing, and recreating things, and renovate in a way that we innovate in a way that I think, the way I see it, I don't have any time. I have to do things because I have bigger, because it's not about complaining, or it's not about, trying to get, when you're stuck in that situation, it's about how do we find other ways. So it's been like that.
Solution. Exactly.
Solution, and get outside of your box. Maybe, again, I know that we have a regular business, and we, like in my world, I have a huge business that I had to, shockingly, we had, in January, we throw a big party and invited some of our top clients, and we had Condoleezza Rice speaking. We had Tyler Florence opening the keynote. We were really excited about 2020, and we had this amazing, absolutely phenomenal food and wine experience, and suddenly everything went down. But what I'm saying, I guess, is that that's a great lesson for all of us, how delicate and precious the life is, in a way that, but it took me about a month to reassess, readjust, and we got this deal going, and really helps us. And we're in constant negotiations with our clients. We had a major, our clients are, as you know, Salesforce, Oracle, Google, Twitter. We have some of them being really helpful, more than others, but it's been an interesting experience. Every day I write down on my board what's positive today, because sometimes even the worst situations bring some positive out that we didn't expect. It's hard to explain that to folks that I was going through a really hard time, but I was talking to my CEO, and he was telling me we're one of the, ironically, he just took over the job and we got hit. And he was telling me that we're like one of the probably only generations that didn't get hit with anything. This is sort of our problem that unfortunately will come through it. But event business will come back. I don't think that, I know there's some gloom and doom out there, but I think things gonna be maybe rearranged and as a company, we come up with the Venue Shield, which is a huge program that to basically helps all the concert goers. We manage all the largest concert venues in the world, including England and in all parts of the world, and US. And so we're really concerned about the safety and the health of our attendees and all the stakeholders. So I think it's going to take us, the leaders, the wine or the hospitality in any ways, to come up with solutions to eliminate some of the risk and convince our customers to come back. I think the restaurants are doing a great job, working hard to trying to figure out how to get people back into business.
Well, I love that positive attitude for sure, Murat, and I know it will turn around and we'll see a new form of events. Now, Murat, more personally, you've achieved so much. What is now your dream?
My dream right now, I want to open up a dough shop.
A what?
Dough shop, like dough.
Oh, dog shop.
Dough, like a dough.
I like not like the cat, but the dog.
No, not dog, dough. Like a pizza dough.
Oh, dough. Oh, of course. Really? Tell me more about this.
I think that there is something I'm fascinated about the really, the dough is a very mysterious. I just like wine, you know. You have this very basic but very complicated at the same time. So I love
Very
to.
true.
I've been very involved with the dough business, and I love to be in my next venture when I'm kind of sitting and sipping my wine in Naples to come up with maybe dough concepts that I can pair with all this wonderful dough with the beautiful wines.
Well,
I
I
think
hope
there's a lot to be said for that. Simple.
you know, we use a flour, you know, very well named the kamut flour that is a very historical flour from Egypt. And it's a great grain. And we use that at the local grocery for our pizza, and it's amazing. So I agree with you. There's a big future there because a lot of American people always wonder, you eat so much bread in Europe, or so much brioche or dessert or tarte, and you're reasonably thin. What's happening? And I think it's in the dough.
It's in the dough. You know, you have the ability to really, and this is where kind of like the winemaking passion, love comes along. There's a lot to be said for that. Like you gotta love it. Like you gotta really enjoy that process, that winemaking or dough. And dough is the simple as it gets. But I tell you, it's
Do you roll it on
unbelievable.
your chest to give it a nice shape?
Yeah, you have to.
Well, Murat, this is fascinating. I had no idea you would say that to me, but it's great, though. It's a good future.
Well, I mean, don't you think that sometimes simpler things in our lives the most precious in a way that, I mean, we get caught up with the fancy this, fancy that, but I think when you bring it down, I am most happy is when I'm playing around with my dough and just that enjoying that yeast and.
All right, you're right. You've been within closed doors for too long, I think. I'm going to invite you to dinner and we're going to make some dough together. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm going to make you a croissant that you never had before. You should tell about the croissant to your audience because a lot of people think the croissant is French. You know why the croissant?
Turkish, right?
No, croissant was created because when the Turks were coming to Austria, the Austrians were baking all night in the shape of crescent to alert everyone that Turks are here. So you see, we had something to do with it.
Well, I like that shape. It's very convenient to eat with one hand. So now we're at one last, and I'm sorry I abused of your time, but so much fun. I cannot wait for you to come to the house and we're going to make some dough and drink wine.
I love that.
That's going to be quite the dinner. Maybe, you're so wise, and obviously we're having a lot of fun, but you are a great inspiration to so many in the hospitality world and in your life as a great father, a wonderful husband, beautiful kids. And we've been close friends for a quarter of a century, which sounds crazy already.
You look the same, by the way.
Yeah, we look the same. What message would you have for all our friends from all around the world with us today? Because thanks to you, many you've met in Europe and in Asia and in Africa with us. So what message would you have for everyone about to enter in 2021?
Yeah, just keep up the spirit, the optimism. We can't be defeated. We have to come up with ways that all of us, it's going to take all of us to convince, and we have to get back to normal, and we will prevail. I think that we got such a wonderful, I mean, think about it, in life, we are, as the food and wine industry, hospitality, everyone needs us. Everyone needs, I think that if you're in our business, just keep up the spirit, do the best you can, because we're all going to survive this. And I think that there might be some better opportunities even ahead of us, just because when things change, there is some hope that things change better too. And there might be some ways that things will improve, you know. And I think we all have to, you know, find a way to get day by day now, but also keep up our spirit to the next thing and next way to come out stronger, you know. That's what I'm trying to figure out now. Like every day I go in and I have, you know, my team, I try to say, look, we revamped our menus. We have you know, it's kind of like, it's one side of me saying, Murat, what are you doing? You know, people are going through a really rough time, and I'm focusing on things that maybe I shouldn't. But and then I said to myself, look, if I don't do that, that's even worse. So I think that taking the time to doing things to better yourself or your business right now is the time to do it, and come back strong. When the time is right, strong, come back better every possible way. If it's your look and feel to your whatever, take advantage of all the help that is out there. You know, that's what I would say. I mean, it's not easy because everybody goes through it differently. You know, everyone it's not a one way. You know, every business is going through a different kind of a level of intensity.
Exactly.
I mean, every industry too, you know, I know the wine industry going through a really difficult time, the hospitality, like hotels, restaurants, but they're all going through different. And then, you know, if you're a small business, it's different than if you're a corporation. So, but they're all challenging, don't get me wrong. Not one is worse or better than others, just that it's a very different process that we're all going through. But I think that as an industry, I do feel that we will come back very strong. I think people will want to be together. I don't think that people want to be defeated just because. I really think that we're going to come back strong. I think people still going to go to concerts. I really don't think that this is not going to be the end of it for us. I really don't think so.
I'm with you. I love your positiveness. Murat the magnificent, Murat the most charming, successful, giving us the crescent story, the croissant, the golden croissant. I love it. And Murat, I really want to thank you for being with us. You know, you've been such a great friend and an amazing inspiration, such a leader. And not only I wish you the best of luck, but you're influencing luck. With your great attitude, you're making the future a better place. So Murat, to your motherland, to California, to Naples now, you're one of your new residents, and
Not
to
yet.
many great future times together. Thank you for such a great time.
Cheers. Salute.